Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have quite a nice rack, all bingo-y tiles, no duplicates, slightly unbalanced in terms of vowels and consonants. However, through pretty much any vowel, I will have a bingo. Planters through an A, splinter through an I, and possibly through the other vowels, but possibly not. I'm not seeing anything with an E. Although there could be something there. And how about an O? I would have the pro prefix. No, so actually it's just A and I, and opponent changes. How annoying. So, tricky position here. Do I break up this bingo rack? Or do I myself exchange? If I did exchange, I would change P and L and keep rents. I'm going to do that. I think rents is a really strong 5-letter set. Great, that looks pretty good. I have hinters and nithers. Surely opponent will not prevent me from playing a bingo. Okay, well, he gets his own down. The best lane, column 5, a double-double. So this rack plus an A. Well, massively high probability. But I'm not seeing a bingo. So that will be retains plus an H. That is just ridiculously high probability. So I'll be massively disappointed if I miss a bingo through that A. I do have snitcher through the C and citherns and citherens. Oh, well, therians, hairnets, and in-earths. Phew. It's a strange thing, word recollection. It's not really a conscious thing. You wait for your subconscious mind to generate the answers and hope that your previous experience of card boxing and finding the answers is sufficient to open the pathways. Anyway, in-earths for 94, and this is the only one of the 3 anagrams which is a double-double. Okay, through an O, I would have foveoli. I'm not seeing a 7 with this rack. And definitely don't go well together, but I do have quite a nice selection of vowels, and in particular I have fovea, fovee, and foveal. I'm not sure there's anywhere great for those. I guess I have fovea and fovee in column 4. That will score quite well. And the F covering the double letter square, not too much of a problem in terms of opponent scoring potential in row A. I'm not sure if karting takes an S. Karting, crating, and tracing. I think tracing does, and it's possible the others don't. Karting does take an S in front. So maybe I should have considered plays in column 3. It's possible they could have scored more than the 94 I got for in-earths, but even if they did it, I don't think it would be terribly much more. So what if opponent blocks column 4? What am I going to do? No obvious good spots for the F or the V, let alone both of them. Well, I guess it depends how opponent blocks column 4. It's possible he may create an opening in column 6. The end of karting is slightly awkward in terms of parallel plays and doesn't offer very much in terms of score. Now, what about row L through the S? Gosh, that's pretty slim pickings with this rack. The best I can see is voles. Opponent, wow, look at this, already down to 16 minutes. And he's only made the one play. Is he about to lay down a back-to-back bingo? Now, have I properly considered all of the floaters on the board? I must keep in mind that an O will give me fovioli, but how about a G? I would have the AGE ending. Not seeing anything there. Opponent does have a back-to-back bingo. He's provided a new spot for fovea underneath the E of trilobed. That would stick an A above this double letter square. Let me see what it scores. 35. Let me see what this scores. 36. Well, I think I prefer this, and the E is adding 4 points to this score, so is worth playing. I am... Well, am I? I haven't spent terribly long thinking about this move. I'm certainly attracted to the idea of getting rid of the F and the V and keeping the board open since I'm behind. Yeah, I'm going with this. Well, all 1 point tiles, which means I should be looking for bingos, but nothing instantly jumps to mind. I've got the out prefix, so I'd have out learned through an E and an R. That's not available. Not seeing anything through the F. I've got the un prefix, untotal, not good. So I'm not particularly optimistic that there is a bingo here. However, I shouldn't give up before I've explored the options available. Well, I'm certainly not seeing a 7, so where are the floaters? There's the S of inearths. I don't think solutant is good. Does it have an anagram? Out slant, not good. No, not seeing anything there. What about the D? No. G doesn't look promising. Nor the N or the T. So what am I going to do here? I've only got 1 point tiles, and there aren't many scoring tiles on the board. Firstly, what do I want to do with this rack? Well, certainly play off a T and the U as a minimum. The O I would also like to jettison. So how can I do that and score? 15 minutes on my clock. Well, I can play out down here for 15 points. Out takes an A and an S at the end. I've got an A. This rack leave is probably the best I can hope for, unless I also played the L. I could play lout in row 10, but that's setting up a hook in column 15, and I don't think I want to introduce that degree of volatility into the game when I trail by so little. However, can I do better than out? In other words, is there anywhere for the tiles in lout which scores more than 15 points? And do I have a play through the V? Well, not that burns the T that I can see. I am going with out. Not good. I dodge all the vowels, and there aren't many floating vowels on the board. I trail by 30 points. Opponent on turn. And again, just 1 pointers. That makes it really difficult to keep scoring. As you can see, last turn I got just 15 points. I'd be far happier picking up something in the order of 30 points on the moves when it's not my turn. And if you've got scoring tiles, that's generally a reasonable target to aspire to. So what am I going to do here? I'd like to hang on to my A, and I'd like to play off 3 consonants. Well, I was just eyeing up lent in column 11. Opponent does have vowels. I mid takes an I and an... It doesn't take an I, it takes an E and an O at the end. So, is there anywhere for lant? And should I be changing? I can't see anywhere to really hang on to the A. Still 2 P's to come. I was contemplating playing lant in column 6. Only 9 points. I think I'd be better off changing if I kept ANST. That's a pretty good 4-letter set. Any vowel improves it, apart from a U. But is there something better than just 9 points on this board? What about a play coming down from LI, getting the word tripled? Not seeing anything. I am changing. L, N, and T. Well, not great, but I certainly shan't be changing this time. I don't have a bingo, unless there's an A for anathase. I'm not totally sure of that, but H and Y go reasonably well together, so I could play hay, precisely the tiles I've drawn, and leave a good rack leave. Am I sure there isn't a 7 here? Well, nothing has come to mind. Ed takes an H, so I could play hay underneath I mid. I'm not seeing anything down from LI. Karting has proved a really blocky play. Nothing has developed from the end of that word. Just looking at the available floaters on the board, D and O aren't suggesting anything. No. And there are no floating A's on the board. Takes an A. So do I have something which provides a bigger overlap than just hay? So do I have an ATH word? Well, I have nath. And nath may take an S. Not totally sure. Not totally sure about nath either. And I think in any event I prefer hay because of the rack leave and the opening of a 7-letter bingo lane ending in S. Still 2 S's and 1 blank to come. Well, hay's been blocked. Omar only takes an S. So an opponent plays an A, but not in the open. And leads by 80 points. Still 46 tiles to come. And plenty of space on the board, so it's not over yet. Now, I am quite keen to get rid of just H, A, and Y, but I mustn't let that blind me to other options. Bit takes a T at the end. Lip only takes an S of the tiles I've got. Well, there is an alternative to hay. It's anagram. Ya, which plays here. 28 points, and that is a decent score. It takes an S, which I've got. Use takes an A, which I've got. And opponent is likely to be attracted down to that part of the board, and it's fine by me if he is, in the sense that it leaves the rest of the board open, and it's fine by me if he doesn't play down here, because that provides me with the opportunity of playing down there. So I think this move has a lot going for it, and I am playing it. So I managed to dodge the E's again. What can I do with this rack? I have Dittany, but that leaves the S on my rack. Through a C, I would have Sanctity. Now I've got the ing ending in column 10, but I'm not seeing a bingo there, and the rest of the floaters don't look particularly promising. Y usually appears at the end of a bingo, and alternatively in first place. Great, just 30 points for opponent. He now leads by 90. Now I just noticed that Pat could have been extended by an H. So I think I missed out on apathy last move, using precisely the tiles in Yar, so that was an oversight. So what am I going to do here? If I play off TY, the rest of the rack is really good. Can I score well with T and Y? Well, TY by itself isn't a word. I do have TD for 17, which is quite a good score. I'm not blocking the D for an ED ending word, and this rack leave is really, really good. And with one of these E's, it would be epic. TD for 17. I draw an E and another S. Surely I'm bingoing now. I have Saitans on my rack. Are there any 7-letter lanes ending in S? Well, TD has blocked Kartings. Opponents has changed. Wow. Is this my chance to come back into the game? Yes, it is. I have D stains in column 1. Anything better than that? Any better lanes I should consider? I don't think so. Let me get this down. D stains for 80. And that's not terrible. Not terrible. It's fairly balanced. And if I get rid of the V with the G, the rest of the rack comprise bingo-y tiles. And look at this, I lead by 8 points. So, where can I play V and G? So I have veg. What about a play ending VED? Well, I have verged, which gets rid of the V and the G. There's still a blank to come, so I quite like the idea of turning over a lot of tiles. Score is pretty tragic. Verge takes nothing in front, so I'm not providing anything super in row D, or indeed anything at all. But can I do better? Is there a way of preserving an E? Well, I'm not sure there is. I'm going with this. Not good. That doesn't feel good. I do have a couple of scoring tiles, but the rack as a whole, pretty clunky. And I trail. I've got the ball component part of a word, but with con, that's not suggesting any 8s. And there's nowhere really good on the board for 4 scoring tiles at the moment. I suppose I could play bowl in column 6, but yet again, that's another play scoring between 10 and 20 points. Really not what one is looking for. Now, verged has stuck an E out in the open, so row F is a bingo lane with an E as a floater. So at the moment, I'm considering bowl, keeping can. That's quite a nice 3-letter set to keep. An opponent scoring in the 30s, so my comeback is now becoming more of a trailing position. Let me take this back. That's really not very much. I do have an O for OXO. So do I have any solve words? No. I have ballon on my rack. So is there a way of turning over more tiles? Increase my chances of drawing the blank? I don't think so. So bowl for 15. Horrendous. I draw the Q without a U or a blank. C and K have some synergy. But what can I do with my Q? There's the Eye of Karting. That stays available. Opponent's already back to a 50-point lead. How frustrating. So, through an eye, I would have a sank. But there's no floating eye available. I can't see any massive score which retains the Q and therefore justifies its retention. So I will play just the Q. Well, I don't draw a U. I was expecting to. And that's not a particularly helpful tile to draw, but I was only drawing one tile. Wow, lovely extension to Verge. Diverged for 28. Opponent now back to a 70-point lead. And just 14 tiles in the bag. There are some really nice tiles to come, but there's also a few horrors in the W and the 2 U's. So what to do here? I've got scoring tiles in the C and the K. Where can I play them, and can I open the board up? At the moment, the only bingo lanes are through the D and I have diverged, apart from a massive overlap in column 2. So I do have ochre here for 29 points, a decent score. It takes an H in front, and I think that may be it. Opponent may play in column 8, but as soon as he plays in column 8, he's opening up a bingo lane. I don't like that. I think a much better play is Geck. Okay, I have a flashing light on my camera. It may be the battery. I'm going with Geck. I draw the W and the U. Okay, this isn't going well. "11 tiles in the bag." I was going to count the vowels. 9 out of 18, so it is vowel heavy. So what can I do about that? I have 5 vowels on my rack. I can just continue drawing vowels. 9 minutes on opponent's clock. Can I play down from lip to create new bingo lanes? Not sure I can. I could play just WO and lipo, but that's dependent on then drawing an S or a blank for hooking it. Well, I think that's the end of the game. Opponent has bingoed really nicely and has the S and the blank, and there are just 4 tiles in the bag. And I trail by 100 points. Wow, and there's still the Z to come, so opponent could be about to score even more. WO doesn't create anything because there are no S's to come. I would like to play off W and U. There are no bingo lanes on the board. So where can I get value from my W? Wow, I'm just not seeing anywhere for that. Can't see anything in column 15, just 4 minutes on my clock. Well, I can do this. I can play wino and draw some more vowels. Bag is empty now. Opponent has got realize. He's drawn another bingo. Is there anywhere for it for him? I don't think there is. Wino doesn't take anything in front. Nice score, 45 points. What can I do with this rack? 4 minutes on my clock. I don't have a bingo onto the R. My scoring tile is the P. Are there any nice P spots? Opponent is going out, I'm sure. He's got Lear and Blee at the top. Not seeing anywhere great for my P. Well, why don't I just play Pina down here? Opponent is going out. And I don't know how much longer I've got with my camera battery. It's been flashing for quite a while, but I think I'm still recording. And opponent has got Blee. Where else has he got for Lee or Eel? He's got Lee in column 14. Yeah. And the final score, 388 for me, 507 for my opponent, a winning margin of 119 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. So it was my opponent to go first, and he changed. And he could have bingoed. Wow, Thrangs was available. My rack, and I do change, and Prent for 20, keeping LS, versus changing, keeping Rents. Wow, is Rents 20 points better than LS? I'm not sure. I think it may be close, but I'm not going to check it now. I'll put it up on the screen because I don't know about the battery. Karting for opponent. I have Inearths for 94, the only double-double. Opponent then finds Trilobed, which was a great spot. Right, so I didn't manage to outrun my battery, and this is the point where we reach. My opponent has just played Trilobed, and I have this rack. So I played Favir in column 4, and Favir at K11 was the alternative play, and I don't think there's very much between those. Opponent's rack plays Dauf, and now this was a tricky rack. Tonal underneath 5 tiles in Trilobed, very nice, but retaining the U. Instead, I play out for 15. So is Lant, which is my rack leave after out, 9 points better than TU. It may be. I think TU is about -5. And Lant, I think, is positive. Maybe 4 or 5. So there could be about 9 points difference. Opponent's rack plays Imid, could have played Limpid in column 8. And now I'm struggling a bit. I change, and I could have played Nat for 18. And I changed, keeping Sant. So is Sant 18 points better than LNST? Well, I'm not sure. Sant is very good. I would say it's between 15 and 20 points. But LNST, how would I value that? Well, I think it's probably close to 8 points, maybe slightly less, 7 or 8 points. So there could be a 10-point difference, perhaps not an 18. Now, opponent's rack has Treepang, nowhere for it, plays Pat. Yeah, that's nice. K3, running beside out, and I play Yar in that spot. And Apathy was also available and would have been a better play. Opponent's rack plays Feg. Now my rack. Wow! Missed bingo. Nystatin. A9. Wow, well done if you spotted that. That would have been good. Opponent's rack. So I play TD. And opponent's rack, horrible, plays... Well, he changes. So let's just have a look at this. Yeah, not surprising, changing with that. And I finally do have a great rack, and this got my hopes up. I got D-Stains down for 80, and very briefly took the lead. Now, opponent's rack. Wow, he's got the J. I wonder if he retained that. Plays Mew. And Venger was available. C6. 27 points. Coming down onto the R of karting. Very nice. So I played Verged for 15, so I think Venger and Verger would have been better plays. Opponent's rack plays something. What does opponent play here? He plays X and Ox. Now look at this. I just saw what flashed up. I have Converged for 32, which certainly would have been better than my play of Ball for 15. And opponent does play Diverge. Oh, he plays Jog. Okay. And has a 50-point lead. I've drawn the Q. And I'm not in good shape. So Gek was available for 33, retaining the Q. Instead, I dumped the Q for 10. Very hard to compare these plays. Although the Q is valued at -8, it's really volatile retaining it because you just don't know how long it's going to linger on your rack. And you could play it the very next turn for a big score, or it could really just crush your rack for many moves to come. So generally, I think it's a good thing to get rid of it. About 33 points for Gek, pretty good. Now, opponent's rack plays Diverged, and I'm still within reach. There are bingo lanes on the board, and I trail by 70. And I play Gek, so just 39 points behind. But that's as good as it gets, because opponent has bingos through the C with his blank. And now there are only 4 tiles in the bag. I trail by 110. I have a rubbish rack, and my race is run. So I play Wino for 28. L15. Owie available. Possibly worth considering, since it blocks opponents scoring in that spot. So opponent plays Izar. And, well, Lippen for 30. Quite nice. What do? I play Piner for 17, so Lippen would have been better. And opponent goes out with Lee. So, what a game. Absolutely fantastic score for opponent. Over 500 points. And, well, approaching 400 for me, so quite a high-scoring game all round. And it was a frustrating game. I had quite a few racks which they just weren't maturing. I was keeping good rack leaves and then not drawing well to them, but that happens an awful lot in Scrabble and is part of the game. So many congratulations to my opponent on the win, and thanks to him for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.